opportunity to talk Lifeline-connect. This is the place that saves lives and saves generations. Frankly, it's amazing work that they do for men that are addicted to some sort of something and they need help. They try other places. They find Lifeline-connect by the grace of God, and they get here and they are successful.
Turn their lives around. No such things as a lost cause, it says at lifelineconnect.org as they talk about registering to support Funding the Dream that's coming up on October 22nd.
Yep, it's coming up October 22nd. We're going to send you to lifelineconnect.org for information about how you can be involved, how you can help this mission. It's amazing. The director of Lifeline Connect is Randy Brown. He's in studio. Yo.
Hi, Stevie.
How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having us today.
Wes Taylor, Taylor Construction and Design, LLC. You build houses, Wes.
Yes, sir.
What's your story?
Well, I grew up actually in Missouri, and I moved to Lifeline. I moved to Urbana to go to Lifeline Connect in July of 2013, and I was in program for 19 months. I graduated program, met my wife, and actually moved to Seidel about a year after I graduated. We got married, and I assist my father-in-law, who's the pastor of the Apostolic Church there. I assist him in the ministry and worked for Troy Lands for about 4 years. And about 3.5 years ago, we decided to go out on our own, start building houses, and God just blessed us, and it's blossomed from there.
What happened to you?
Actually, when I was 16 years old, I had a really bad car accident with my dad, and that was kind of before doctors really realized what opiates would do. And I got in as they were kind of starting to figure all that out, and they prescribed me opiates for about a year when I was 16.
A year?
For about a year.
7 days you're addicted if you're on opiates.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that then. Whatever it is, in a year. So you were a big addict, but it was painkillers and things like that.
Yeah, it was painkillers, and just like every addiction, it progressed into other things as time went on. But I struggled with that till I was about 23. When I was 23 years old, I knew I didn't want to live that way. I knew I didn't want to be that way. And I just cried out to God. I asked I said, God, if there's anywhere I can go in this country that will teach me the way that I was taught growing up, if you'll open the door for me to get there, I'll walk through it, and I'll never turn my back on it. And that was almost 8 years ago.
That's amazing. Randy Brown, I think you're such a talent. And I've told you this before, because you've got eyes that see with the grace of God, but you also know when somebody's BSing you.
Yeah.
They're not going to, you know what they're doing, and you've been there. What's your story?
Well, I was raised for the most part in Muhammad, and was not raised in we didn't go to church all the time. My mom tried taking us there occasionally and stuff, but ended up in a background where all my friends were heading down that path. I was heading down that path coming out of high school. Then in 1989, started to turn my life around, and then started reaching back to guys that had kind of continued down that path. So consequently, I was teaching Bible studies to people that were hooked on crack and heroin and everything else, and we'd made some attempts to try to help some of those guys, and they would live in our camper, or we had a finished garage with the bathroom and everything, and we would move a guy in there and work with him for a while. And really, it was just limited success. Also working with a lot of guys that you couldn't house. I mean, there's only 2 or 3 that we could try to house a little bit, but without the residential component, it was very difficult. And plus, just the learning curve of learning what works and even understanding addiction, because most of us don't even really understand addiction, and understanding how all that works, and just pushing through. In the 14 years, it's unbelievable what we've learned, and to help people like Wes. And it's just been an amazing journey.
We need more beds. We need more money. We need more people. And I guess, sadly, you probably always are going to need more room.
Yeah, right now, since we just moved into the 24-man dorm, we're good for right now. But, everything's kind of blowing up right now. We're getting more and more calls.
Oh, you had coronavirus. People that were off West, they were off of it. They're back on it because of anxiety and all the stuff going on now.
Yeah.
And all this has been terrible for addiction.
Right.
And people that are doing stuff they've never done because of this.
Exactly.
So it's definitely exacerbated everything from the point of addiction and trying to find comfort or something.
Exactly.
And then they get into trouble because there's something going on in our bodies that makes some more susceptible than others.
Yeah, and I mean, it is that. It's a coping behavior, and we find out too as we're working with people that are hooked on meth and people that are hooked on heroin really aren't that much different than people that are hooked on shopping or hooked on
It's addiction behavior.
Yeah,
Because
it's just-
some is more damning than others and
Exactly.
take you down the wrong path. Wes, what would you tell somebody that maybe as a family member, or maybe they themselves, they might have a gambling problem? They're sitting at these bars all day with these slot machines and stuff. What would you tell them regarding addressing it?
Well, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to address the fact that you have a problem, because nobody wants to admit that we have something going on in our lives that we can't control on our own or that we can't get out of without help. But, what I found out was, when I was in my addiction, it was very humiliating for me to have to go to somebody, especially somebody that I looked up to, or somebody, and my family knew and things, but actually the man who ended up actually getting me down the path to go to somewhere to get recovery, he wasn't related to me, and he's since become a huge mentor to me, but having to admit to him that I had this problem I couldn't deal with was very humiliating, because we all want to think that we can control what we do in our own lives, but the reality is that's not always the case. And more often than not, it does take you going to somebody and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I'm dealing with this right now, can you help me get out of it? Because when you're in it and you're in the middle of it, your perception is faded. Your understanding of what you're really doing usually is not accurate. And so that's what's so valuable about people like Randy. When I came to Lifeline, I was able to talk to him about things that I could never talk to anybody else about. Obviously the first step is admitting that you have a problem. I almost hate to say that because it's so cliche, but that's the truth. You have to come to grips with the fact that you need help. But once you get that help, and especially once you make it to Lifeline, once you get to Lifeline, you're here because you need help. And the invaluable thing about Lifeline is you're surrounded with people who can offer that help to you, and you're in a place where God can deal with you and speak to you, and you're in a safe environment, and that's what's so invaluable about Lifeline. And you may not be struggling with something that you need to go to Lifeline for, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to go talk to somebody about it.
Sure.
That doesn't mean that you don't need to find someone that you can, confide in.
Well, I don't know why we've made such a stigma about mental health, and we need to talk. I mean, everybody needs somebody to talk to. You can pray, and that's awesome, and it's powerful, and all those great things. But human connection. I mean, Randy,
Right.
can you even talk to a Wes? Can you talk to anybody that doesn't admit I need help? Or does it start truly there?
It does. I mean, when we do the interview process, we're looking for some key things, and one of the key things I'm looking for in an interview is somebody that's willing to start taking responsibility for their life. And a person that says, hey, look, I've got a problem, is a person that stops saying that everybody else is the problem. When you're interviewing a person, they're saying, oh, it's my dad, or it's my mom, or it's my boss, or I need a better job. Or when they talk about environmental conditions, I'm not talking to somebody I can help at this point. They have to get to the point where they're like Wes, and he says, hey, he didn't say my dad has a problem, even though he was a problem to his dad. He said, I've got a problem. So he's taking ownership and he's taking responsibility for his life. All of a sudden, you're talking to a person you can probably help. How
much does it hurt when you have to tell them I can't help you right now?
Well, the thing is this, after doing it for so many years, there is a sense of responsibility of feeling God led when I tell somebody that. I mean, it's just like to think, because I've had a guy that I had to put off for certain reasons, and they found him dead in a hotel room, but he just wasn't ready.
Well, you weren't going to help him if he doesn't admit it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you can't do that, and you're going to mess up the whole chemistry of things,
and
right?
I have a responsibility to protect the environment of the dorm. There has to be people in there that want help. But this is the thing. The reason why it's easier for me to deal with now is because I'll have guys walk into the program, like walked into the program yesterday. A guy that wasn't ready. I've been talking with him for 2 or 3 years, and now he's ready. And he walked into the program yesterday.
Wes Taylor Construction Design, who went through Lifeline-Connect. Randy Brown, Director of Lifeline-Connect, in the studio. A few more minutes. Big sponsors, Lance Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Wes Taylor Construction. You're giving back, Wes. Why?
Well, I feel like I have a responsibility to give back, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Lifeline-Connect, honestly. They were willing to take a chance on me 8 years ago when everybody else was ready to just get rid of me, and they really didn't care what that, entailed or what that consisted of. But, the reason I feel like I have responsibility to give back to Lifeline is because they've impacted my life while I was in program. But the thing about Lifeline is they not only impact your life while you're in program, they continue to invest in you after you get out of program. I could still call Randy anytime. I do call Randy a lot of times, when I need things, whenever I just need somebody to talk to, because recovery doesn't stop the day that you graduate program. That's when recovery really just begins. And, I think it's important to reinvest into a program like that. Because like I said, I wouldn't be here without that.
Well, Randy, again, I'm a fan of yours because of all the things you're doing, and there's just a steely toughness about you that is, you have to have that. Because when somebody's giving you a line, you can read it like a dime store novel. You know what they're saying is true or not true. But you're helping. There's a 70% success rate here. Yeah. Why?
Well, it's not just a discipleship program. It's not just, and I'm not taking anything away from that. It's not just Bible reading and praying and seeking, all that stuff. That's a very, very crucial part of what we do at Lifeline Connect. But, Wes mentioned part of it. I'll get to that. But it's the spiritual component. It's the component of all addictions push away unwanted thoughts, feelings, and memories. And so we all have things in our heart, a false belief system, the lies that we've been navigating our life with, things that have been projected into us as a kid. So Lifeline Connect, we have a lot of tools, a lot of self-discovery, counseling, and groups and different things that we move into those areas, those deep-seated areas, and we get Jesus to those places. Yes. And it's not that Jesus isn't enough. It's just it's as much as he is, unless he's gotten to the right place, it's not going to help. And so we find those areas through self-discovery and tools, and then we get Jesus introduced to those areas, those dark rooms, those broken hearts, and the healing takes place. And then, a lot of aftercare that Wes is also talking about.
I think we need a Bible-thumping tent revival in America.
Oh, yeah.
Amen. I think we need it. We need a Billy Graham tent, and we need to start that because that's what this country needs. Yeah. This is a good versus evil feel we're going on right now in America, and we need people like you to say, hey, man, there's hope.
There is.
There is hope, and you never give up. Okay, so Funding the Dream, October 22nd. You can watch it on Facebook at Lifeline Connect, YouTube at Lifeline Connect. You can call Brenda Rogers. I just can't believe how apathetic Brenda always is. She's just never after it.
I'm telling you.
Funny. Brenda is amazing what she does.
She's a mover and shaker.
David, Brenda, just amazing people. Funding the Dream, registration online. You can help this incredible story happening in Urbana. Lifeline-connect.org to look into it. But we've got amazing people running Lifeline Connect and amazing generations being changed because of it. Because you look at Wes Taylor and Taylor Construction and Design. I want a guy like him to build my house. An honest, good man that has seen adversity, that hangs in there and finishes stuff.
Right.
Man, oh man. Why wouldn't I hire Wes Taylor and Taylor Construction and Design to build my house?
Right.
Anyway, God bless both of you.
All right,
thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're doing such amazing God's work. It's just fantastic. And the Rogers, come on, man. Amazing folks, amazing mission. Mm-hmm. You can call Brenda at 621-9649, Lifeline Connect. You can watch this October 22nd. You got Tim Sinclair, superstar sports announcer, co-host of CI Living. Talked to Nathan Whitaker yesterday, motivational speaker. He's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So 6:25 Thursday, October 22nd. Want to be part of all this. And again, lifelineconnect.org to help.
Absolutely.
Amazing mission. Okay, that was great. I enjoyed the heck out of that. Fired off. Look at that, folks. There's always hope. There's always